Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session, Deep Dive into RAP Developer Extensibility. So this session is mainly about how you extend the standard RAP-based applications and build your custom extensions. So if you have any standard RAP-based application, which is delivered by SAP, and you wanted to enhance that with custom fields, custom logic, and then you go with RAP Developer Extensibility. And if you today morning, if you come across the keynote as well, so when to use which extensibility. So that's what the keynote presentation was. So this extensibility is mainly related to on-stack extensibility. So that means that it is tightly coupled to the legacy because we are extending the standard application. And this extensibility is called as pro-code extensibility. So it is not a key user extensibility. So you will be doing the development of these extensions in ADT. You enhance the CDS views and then write the logic. So it comes under the pro-code extensibility option. So let's check what's this deep developer extensibility about and how it works. So I have some refresher sessions slides here. So these are the slides which you have seen in the keynote as well. So I wanted to just give an overview of what is RAP first and then corresponding architecture. So coming to the RAP, so RAP is the architecture which is used in whether it's a S/4HANA public cloud or it's a private cloud or in any premise. Means it's an on-premise. Even if you wanted to use, you will be able to use this RAP as a single development model. And here, if you see this, so here you will be able to you can see this RAP development model is there across the platforms. Irrespective of platforms, you'll be able to use this RAP model. So only the classic ABAP development is available in private cloud, but in the public cloud and in the BTP ABAP environment, which is ABAP PaaS, so you will be using ABAP Cloud with RAP as a technology. So if I just go into the big picture, so starting when you model any application, you will start from your database. So you do your data modeling first. So what is your root entity and then child entity? So you do your relationships, you establish the relationships, and you do the data modeling. And then if you wanted to enable the transitional capabilities, then you use business objects for the which is nothing but behavior definition, and then you give the transitional capabilities. So projections are something which you give for the UI behavior. So where you wanted to role-based UI behavior, if you wanted to give it, then you can give the projection views. Finally, you consume the view in the service definition. So where which entity should be part of my OData service, and what are the objects which needs to be part of my OData service. So that you define in the service definition, and in the binding you select the protocol. So whether it's a V2 or V4 or whatever may be the web API, the protocol. So, and then finally, once the OData is generated, you will be consuming it in the whatever may be the application, whether it's a Fiori-based application or a freestyle-based UEFI-based application or any other analytical cloud application or something. So whatever you see it in the first left side will be the transitional applications architecture. The same also holds good for the analytical applications as well. So this is the overview of RAP architecture. But here, once all these objects for a RAP standard RAP application was built by SAP, then how do you do the extensions? So you will be having a scenario where you need to do extensions, obviously. So how do you do the extensions? That's the topic which we will be seeing now. So this is the extensibility architecture overview. So in this overview, you can see that the same whatever I have mentioned in the previous slide. So everything was also there here as well. But if you see this, there are two colors here. So one is the left one is the little gray color, and then the green color, whatever you see. So whatever the objects which you see in this color objects are the objects which are delivered by SAP. So they create, obviously they create the data modeling and the CDS views, and then projection views, and then deliver the application. So here, uh, uh, standard SAP applications, for the applications which are delivered for RAP, there will be a interface called BO interface, which will be delivered by SAP, which is nothing but public interface, which they give the release contracts. So based on the release contract, and once it is publicly available, then you will be able to do the extensions. So that's the reason you can see that there are something called C1 and C0. So these are nothing but the release stability contracts, so which are attached to the each object by SAP. So that means that when you do the upgrade, when SAP does the upgrade, so they make sure that whatever customer extensions which you have built on top of that should not be affected. And also, whenever the objects which are released in this C1 contracts, only those BOs can be extended. Otherwise, you cannot extend the BO. So they're making sure that the life cycle stability is ensured. So you see these objects, so C0 and C1. So C0 is for the extension points, so which are allowed for extensions. So if the objects are allowed for extensions, you will be able to see the release contract as C1. So you will be able to see for each object in the API state in the ADT. So if you go to the properties, so there will be API state, and you will be able to see the release state of each one of them. So whenever the object has C0, that means that it can be extended. And when the object is C1, that is nothing but public interface, which you can use for your custom fields, or you can update any standard field or any standard object or something. You can update if the release contract is C1. So SAP delivers a RAP BO interface for every standard application, which you can consume it in your EML statements when you do an updates. So this is the data modeling part. The same way you will be having the transitional part as well, so which is behavior definition, behavior projection, and the service definition, which I may have mentioned just before in the previous slide. So these objects also we need to enhance when you have the use cases. So these are the objects which the customer can build. So it's not restricted. That means that you can create n number of extensions. So that means that for a database table, you can extend the database table with the include structure. The include structure which is provided by SAP persistent include structure, you can extend with whatever fields you wanted. And then in the same way, the field, whatever you have added it in the database table, should be added to the CDS views, projection views as well, in order to get it in the UI. So the whatever extensions which you see it in this here is data model extensions. If the field, if it is only a field, then you touch these objects. If it is a logic, custom logic, if you need to write on the custom fields or a standard fields according to your own logic, then you also need to enhance the behaviors and then write your custom logic. So this is how the overall high level overview of the architecture is about extensibility. So maybe we'll see what are the use cases. So generally we get for a customer. So use cases will be like you might use data model extensions. So data model extensions in the sense the custom fields. So the second one would be like the field extensions. The field extensions in the sense the fields, whatever you are extended, maybe you need to write a logic saying that it should be a mandatory, or it should there might be a custom action. So you need to write the action in order to perform that. So that's a custom logic. So there might be a complex use case where you might need to add a new node to your existing hierarchy. So that means that SAP has delivered, for example, in a sales order and sales order item, you wanted to have a one more child called maybe a change log or a task list. So which is custom to your own use case. So it's a complex use case where you can add a node as well to the existing data model. So these are the main three use cases which you generally get when you do the extensions. So in my scenario where I have done the POC and identified these use cases, I have taken in the api.sap.com, the business accelerator hub. You can go to S/4HANA public cloud section. So where you will find out a tab called Developer Extensibility. So in this tab, you will be able to see the released APIs. That means that released RAP BOs, which you can do for, which we can go ahead and do the extensions. So in this case, I have chosen this procurement project as a standard application. And for this standard application, I wanted to do the custom fields and custom extensions. So I'll shortly show you the demo as well. But before that, what I'm going to achieve, I wanted to just give an overview here. So this is a standard RAP-based application. So which is procurement project standard RAP application. So when you see this application, it has the corresponding header and child. So the general information and then the plants. The project has some set of plants. Okay, this is the standard application. So for this standard application, what we are going to do is like, so we will add a custom field. We'll add a we'll add a custom button, which is nothing but custom action, and we can add a custom node. So that's what we are going to achieve. So that means that for the standard application, the same standard application, there is a use case where we need to add a field called external source. And there is a button called maybe a set project reference. So that means that as soon as when you select that button, it should update the standard field with some value. And you can also have a custom node, which is not delivered by SAP. So you wanted to have this node according to your own use case. So this use case is like some task list. So he can give it to the application. Maybe send an email as soon as a plant is created, or send in maybe just add some additional information in this task list. So this was the use cases. So, or you might also give validation as well. So validation in the sense custom validation. So maybe this name is not a mandatory field which is given by SAP, but you wanted to give the standard field as a mandatory field on save. So, so this is also one of the use case. So in this use cases, so what you generally need to know is like, so as I mentioned you, maybe I can also go into API.sap.com. Yes. So here, if I go to the public cloud edition, as I said, you need to go to the Developer Extensibility tab. Maybe I can go into the procurement project. So here I will be able to see the publicly available BO interface. So with this interface, I should be able to do any operations like the create operations. For example, even if I click on the corresponding create, it gives us how to do the create operations with this object. So the corresponding objects, you will be able to see this here. So the same thing I have just find out first. I found out what are the objects which I need to touch. Like for example, say as I mentioned previously in the architecture slide as well, you need to know the data model of the application which you are enhancing. So that means that here, if you see,
share on Zoom, or did you
yes,
share the slide?
Yes. Yeah, it's shared.
Yeah, the selecting. Yeah, screen two. Better one.
Yeah. Yes. So here you can see that. So this is the data model which is used by standard RAP application. So they are using the table. This is the table and this is the root view. So this is the interface and the projection view which they are using. I identified from the API.sap.com. And then these are the interfaces which they are using for behaviors, logic, in terms of behavior definition and implementation. So our main, for our use cases, whatever I have mentioned for custom field, custom logic, and then node extensions, I need to enhance each level, saying that I need to add a new field, I need to enhance at each level. So the same way I need to enhance at each level in terms of service as well. So each level of the object I need to enhance, and then I need to build the UI. So the first use case which I'm going to show you is like data model and node extensions. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, so I wanted to add a custom field external source with the project entity, whatever the root entity. And I also need to add a a new child called task list for the project entity. So maybe I can just go into, since it is a code-based demo, so I have a the video, maybe I can, yeah, I'll share. So yes. So this is the standard application which you see it. So for this, we are which has procurement project and procurement plant. So first, what we need to do is like we need to identify, as I mentioned. So we need to enhance the this is the table. Table has an include structure. So for this include structure, I need to add new fields. So how I will add the new fields is like I need to extend it. So extend it in the sense, so this is a include persistent include structure where I need to extend the fields. So you can see that the structure is already delivered by SAP as extensible character numeric, and how many bytes it can be extended, how many fields it can have, what is the suffix it can have. So these all things as part of uh, uh, when you extend any field. So you need to follow that guidelines as part of code clean core strategy. So now what we will be doing is we'll enhance the structure. You can see extend type and then structure with fields. So what field is this? The field what I am enhancing is the custom field. So I need to add the G field with the corresponding type, the data type. So in my case, it's a checkbox. So I just added this as a new field. And then it has an extension structure. So this extension structure also needs to be enhanced with the same field. So so whenever you add a field to the table, you also need to add that field to the corresponding the CDS views as well. So that's where you can see that for the structure. So as well, we'll have which is associated. The structure is associated to the R view. So which is the root view. You can see that this is the root view in line number 28. So this is the root view. So for this root view also, the same field needs to be enhanced. So here also you can see that it is extensibility enabled true, and it has all the fields. So how many quota and maximum fields it can have, and you can also see at the 27th line, it can allow new compositions as well. That means that new task, I can add a new task as well. If these annotations are not available, then we cannot add it. So you can see I added a new field here as well for the R view. And my task is to not to add only the field. I also need to add to the entire task list as well. Task list in the sense new node as well. That's the reason you can see one more extension I have created just to keep it separated. I can add it in the same extension as well. Just to keep it separated, I created a new extension. And you can see I have added a new composition to it, which is a G composition for the standard root view. So it is a task. So that means that I have already task related fields already available. I just added a composition. So now the same behavior, whatever I have shown you in the R view, like a sourcing field in the task list needs to be added in the each layer. So whether it's interface layer, even in the consumption layer. So then only you will, the logic would be propagated. So the same, whatever you see it here is two extensions, one for source, one for a task list. Maybe I'll just move on to, so you can see that in the projections we redirected to composition as a child. And the same way, if you go into the C view as well, so you will be having the same extensions. So same extensions in the same field. So whatever the source field you have, and then the task list you have. So if you identify every view, whatever you see it here has these annotations, which is there at the 22 to 29th line. So extensibility enabled true, and then for the new field, what I have added, I also specified the position, like at which position it should display. So it should display exactly at the same. Okay. Yeah, it's a video. Yeah, yeah. So so there is an annotation here. So this annotation will give us the custom field position, like in the which position it should go ahead and add it. So these are the data model extensions which I have done for the views. So for example, if I go, if I again go check these two scenarios, so I have added uh, the custom extension, which is external source, and custom node called task list. So if I go to the next one, so the custom logic one. So the custom logic one is like, so you need to enable the dynamic feature control. So for example, say I have an external source field. So that should be enabled dynamically. So based on the value. So any value which is given based on the standard field, you should enable and disable it. So that's a requirement which I get. And I also need to have a new action, which is set project reference, and a new validation called name. So name is mandatory or something. Yeah. So these are the three use cases which we write for the custom logic. So for this custom logic also, so we need to enhance the behavior definitions. So whatever that behavior definition which is given by the SAP, so we need to enhance it with extension, and then we need to declare whatever the dynamic feature control and whatever we need to give, we need to give it. So maybe I'll show you the so So here as well, you need to do the extensions. So first you can see that for the standard behaviors, the extension is enabled. So since extension is enabled, then you will be able to write the extensions. So here you can see the extension is allowed for validations, determinations, even the save as well. And I have added two extensions as I mentioned. So one extension is for writing a new action. You can see this extension using interface. And then it has action. It has a new field because I need to write a dynamic feature control. So that means that based on some value, I need to enable and disable the custom field, whatever I have added. And I also written a validation saying that the project name should be mandatory. So which is not given by SAP. So, and this, whatever I have added, it should have the draft future as well. So whatever validations, whatever I have added, should have the draft future as well. So that's where I need to add the draft specific extensions as well. The same way, the other extension would be like, so to add the node extensions, node in the sense, so we need to enhance the task list. So we did not specify that what behaviors the task list should have, whether it's a create or whether it's an update or whether it's a delete, the new node which we have added. So that's where we just added a new, it's an extension. And in this extension, we are adding a new behavior for the G task node. And then we add all the behaviors like create, update, and delete. So these are the two extensions which I have added. But adding the extensions is it's just a declaration, right? So you need to write ideally the logic for it. So, and also whatever extensions, whatever we have done only in the R behavior in the sense the base behavior. The projection does not know whether these extensions exist or not. So that's where you also need to add the corresponding actions, whatever I have added, you need to add it in the corresponding interface and also in the C behavior. So it's a final behavior where the UI knows that we have added a new field, a new validation, or the new node. So that's where I just exposed them with a use syntax like a delegating, saying that so there is an action available which is created by customer. So to show it in the UI. The same way the other extension has the new node, so which is having the create, update, and delete for the task which is available. So this is only the declaration, whatever you see it. Declaration in the sense we added only in the behavior definition. We did not write any custom logic as of now. So the custom logic comes, so like say you need to write the logic saying that, so the validation for name should be mandatory. So that you write it in the behavior implementation. So in the behavior implementation, you can see that, so we have added the logic for the field what I have added should be dynamically enabled and disabled based on some condition. So, so once in my case, I have enabled it based on the standard field. So based on the standard field, you can enable and disable this field. And I have added a custom action logic as well. So as soon as when I click on that action, it should update a field value with EP1. So whenever you press this action, the value of this project reference will be updated with EP1. And this is the logic for validations. So the name is not given as a mandatory field in the standard. I need to write logic for giving it as a mandatory. So final extension, what we need to do here is like the service extension. The service extension is, as of now, the service does not know that we have a new node called task. So that's where you need to enhance the service as well. So the service also needs to be enhanced with the corresponding extensions. And then you can see that I have extended the service and added a new node called task. So that's where I'm getting when I do the preview, or when I load this application in the Fiori Launchpad, I also get the task as a node. So finally we came to the final scenario where we will see we have coded the custom logic and the custom fields and the task. So now you can see that for the standard service, there is a task which is added as a child. So now we can see the output now. So how this output for the standard application looks like. So we have now for the same application which I showed you in the starting, the new field is added at this position, which is collectional source. So if I can edit it, the custom field can be editable now because I have added a transitional behavior for it. So I can do the check or uncheck. And then now this is the custom field what I have added. And now there is a custom button, you can see it, which is set project reference. So as soon as when I click on the set project reference, the external project reference will be updated with EP1. So you can see that it is updated with EP1. This is the standard field which I'm updating. So using an action, I'm just updating some fields. Maybe you can do in our use case, maybe approve, reject. So such type of actions. And I have added a new node, which is task list. So this task list is fully transitional enabled. So that means that as soon as when I click on edit in the top, I will be able to add a new task, and I can create a new task with whatever maybe the task. These are the tasks which needs to be performed for this project. So I can just give some values here, and then if the task is completed, maybe I can give it as done also. And then you can see that without saving, I'm clicking on back, so that draft is also getting saved. So because my application is already managed draft application, so I also enabled in the extensions also the corresponding draft features. So that's where the draft is also enabled here. And finally, you can see that the name, whatever you see the name here, if I remove that, and if I give it as a blank value, which is not given by SAP as a mandatory field. Now, when I click on save, so it gives as a name is a mandatory field. And then when I click on it, I get the field as a mandatory field. So whatever we have seen here is totally related to the custom fields, custom logic, and then custom node extensions using developer extensibility. So you might have a question, maybe you might get a question like, say, why we need to, means the same field is getting added, we need to touch so many objects. Isn't it a complex way of doing it when you add a field? So when compared to the key user extensibility using UI adaptation mode or using the Fiori apps which you have. But here, this developer extensibility is something where developer will have full control of the application. So that means that he can go ahead and do any extension without any limitations. For that, he need to know exactly what is the data model and what he can do on whatever custom actions, whatever you need to perform, he will be able to do it. To ease our complexity of this, adding these fields, logic, and for the developer extensibility, this whatever version which I showed you now is S/4HANA 2023, which is very latest version. Okay. The next version, which is S/4HANA 2024, I just spoke to Volker, so which is not released. Maybe 25. So and 2408. So maybe in the cloud version of 2408. I just spoke to Volker. So he told that there is a generator coming up for this. That means that you will be able to select the BO, which BO you wanted to do the custom actions. Just you add the field name, like I have added, went to the each field. Just you add the JED, and then you follow the conventions with whatever conventions mentioned in the annotations, like suffixes. Automatically, all these objects, the generator will add this field to every object. Your job will become easier. I know that the code generator will do that job easy, but the only thing, the advantage you get by doing this is like you will understand the RAP business object in a very meaningful way, so that any extensions you can do it. But RAP generator also will do the same thing. But if you are not aware of the complete functionality, then sometimes we might end up looking into a scenario where we don't understand how it is generated. So in the both ways. So, but whatever may be the reason, so the RAP generator will also do this whatever stuff which we have done now, will be at least from the data modeling perspective. So RAP generator will be doing that. But the logic, whatever we have seen here, that is not obviously will be generated by code RAP generators. You need to manually write the logic. Yeah. So these are the extension scenarios. Maybe I'll just switch back to the slides. So these are the links. So I have taken it from help.sap. So when I'm doing this POC, I wanted to explore this functionality of RAP extensibility. So these two links helped me a lot in terms of extending the standard RAP-based application. But the process, whatever you have seen for extending the application, will remain same, whatever may be the BO, whatever you choose. In my case, I choose procurement project randomly, since it is a small BO. But whatever may be the BO which you choose for extensions, the process, the practice will remain same. So that's about RAP extensibility. And yeah. Okay. So any questions?
Oh Gott, muss ich ja laufen. Kann nicht einer aus der ersten Reihe Fragen stellen?
This new cool feature to generate automatically the changes in different business development objects, will it be part of Business Application Studio or Eclipse or
ADT? It will be part of ADT. So as soon as when you choose the RAP business object, so
Test.
closer.
So this will be part of ADT. So you can choose the RAP business object and you right click the context menu. You will be able to find out a RAP generator option, and then you will be able to do it. It will be part of ADT. Yeah.
So is there any way we can find out which RAP BOs can be extended? Because
Yes.
you showed this word extendable, right?
Yeah. So actually in when you open the, maybe I can open the Eclipse here. So you can go to the properties. Okay, in the version what I'm showing you is 2022 version. The demo what I have prepared is 2023, because in 2022 version, whatever I have showed is not fully available. So you can go to, if I go to any of the object, for example, say, so this is the procurement project RAP BO. You can go to API state. Okay, so in this API state, maybe I'll just, so you can see that the release contracts here. Okay. So as of now, you see that in 2022, this object is not released. Okay, but in 2023, this object is released. That's the reason whatever I've showed is 2023. Maybe for your scenario, maybe I can show you, maybe you can go to any BAPI, for example. I'm just showing you how this release objects will be there. So maybe a BAPI PR create. Okay, if I go to the API state here, so you can see that it is not released, but there is a successor available, which is the RAP BO. So instead of BAPI, you can also use this RAP BO for updating the business objects. So if I open this object, so this is nothing but the RAP BO interface which I have mentioned. And if I go to the API state here, so most probably you can see it's released, which is having the C1 contract.
But my question was to add a behavior action. You need to have the wording like the syntax
Extensible.
extensible.
So for that, you'll be able to find it out in the behavior definition itself.
So we have to go individual behavior.
Individual behavior definition, and then you see that whether they have given that entity as extensible or not. If they have not given the entity as a extensible, then you cannot extend.
But there is no central place where we can just check what are the.
You can also check in the Extensibility Explorer.
Explorer.
There is the options as for HANA Cloud, ABAP Cloud, etc. There you can see which BOs are released already and which are extensible with this.
You can check there.
You can check it.
Okay.
We can see it offline, no problem.
Yeah.
How can we find? Yeah, how can we find the dependent objects like which are related to this particular application? Like, is there any
yeah,
like
there is a
easy
tool.
way?
Yeah, it's a nice question. So for example, if I open this BO, okay, I can right click on it. You can go to show in Relation Explorer. Okay, so you will be able to see the corresponding tool here. So these are the core data services. For example, if I go to the using objects or used objects. Yeah. So in this option, you can see what are the objects which are used here. Okay, and also you can also select. I think so. Something related to BO also you will be able to select. So when you select this, so you can see this is the access control which is used, and also the business objects which are using it. So the entire hierarchy you will be able to find out using this tool called Show in Relation Explorer. You
So
can
it will only show specific objects which are related to this particular.
This particular business object, yes.
Nothing else, right? Like, because we will be sure, like we'll be extending these objects only.
So it will give the objects which are related to this business object only.
Okay.
It doesn't give the other business objects. Yeah.
Thank you.
You showed a business case, right, to put a validations on standard field, right? So it's a common business case, so to across all the customers, right? So when it comes to unmanaged scenarios, right, we could not able to do that. Is there any roadmap where we can extend? Like it's more towards
If it is a managed or unmanaged, the process will still remain same. Okay. So maybe you need to check only the release version. So mostly the process, whatever I have mentioned, irrespective of the implementation type, the same process will apply for managed and unmanaged implementation.
Yeah, that's what my question is. Yeah, for unmanaged, there is no possibility of adding additional save. But my question is for SAP saying that is there any roadmap where they can enable even for unmanaged? Because most of the business object what I see in API Hub all are unmanaged, right? So maybe hardly this is one of the basic one which they delivered for managed, right? So is there any roadmap for SAP?
There are some people from SAP sitting here, but I don't think that unmanaged scenario can be extended in the same way because we have a complete other core, the complete adaptation, extensibilities, a complete back-end logic is done by calling the old BAPIs. So you also need to extend the old BAPIs, and it would be some magic if you get it to extend the unmanaged scenarios. So
thank you.
What you can do is with unmanaged BOs, you can add additional stuff, add actions, add new fields, of course, that you can do. If you somehow need to change the process of a BO, then that is much more difficult for unmanaged BOs because the complete process logic is done in a legacy.
It's
code.
very common to having a validation, like the one which he showed, right? It's
Yeah,
a mandatory field.
The solution for validation, for example, in unmanaged BOs is still bodies. Using bodies is still in ABAP Cloud. It's a normal thing. You can do that, for example, for the famous sales order business object. If you there want to add a validation logic, you need to implement a body.
Okay,
That's
but
still, at the moment, this is the answer for.
it's only for CFL, right? That's what I understand. It's only for custom fields you can add a validation.
The
Okay.
standard fields
It depends. Yeah, it depends on what the signature of the body offers. So you could also offer or implement validations for standard fields. That's in this case for unmanaged BOs. It's really dependent on the concrete business object.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Where? Whoa, whoa, ah. Very close.
I have the question to the extension of the table.
Mhm.
In my knowledge, you need to use the custom field to be cloud ready, the app in the theory custom field, but you use a traditional extension. So it's not cloud ready what you did there?
So whatever the extension I have done using is the persistent include structure. If you're using from the developer extensibility, then you need to use this, the persistent include, and then you need to extend it. So when you do
And
it
this
from
is
the
cloud ready? But
yes,
I think in our public
yes,
cloud
yes.
system, it's not possible.
So they give this the whatever the include structures and the tables, whatever you give. Once they get that release contract C0, then you should be able to do it. Yeah. So the release contract is very crucial. So which I showed you C0, right? So they assign the release contract as C0. So then you should be able to do it.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, because maybe for that question, because I think this is quite good question, maybe we should scroll just to see which we could scroll properties window here. No, the properties here, because if we will scroll,
Just a
we
minute.
can
I'll just
see
open the
this is
structure.
the ABAP Cloud, let's say, object or.
Yes. So ideally, this will be in the released state actually in S4HANA
Uh-huh.
2023. So this is S4HANA 2022 system, whatever I was saying.
Because I was thinking about the ABAP version language that this object
Will be added for use in cloud development.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll have two releases. One is key user release or use in cloud development. So once this is selected, and you can see it here, will be that it will be in a released state actually. So when it is released and it is available in use in cloud development, then you should be able to enhance it.
So, thank you. No more questions as I look into the room.
And maybe the next section is the keynote from Volker regarding maybe I think you can explore more futures there. Yeah.